Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Eel Podcast. And here are your hosts, Scott and Mike. One thing I have to announce this time, because Mike is definitely going to bring it up a million times over, was apparently my beautiful editing job in the last episode. So, one thing, if you had not seen it, thank goodness. If you had,
Don't.
stop. I'm keeping it up there because Mike likes to watch me suffer, and apparently I'm not allowed to take it down. So, apparently the voice don't match the lips, and we overlap, and there was a lot of connective issues that I blamed Mike for, and apparently it was me. So, on behalf of the Black Eel Podcast, I have to say that my internet stunk, and it wasn't Mike's fault. So that is all I am saying at this point in time.
We get
In
off.
today's episode,
No,
we're
no,
going
no,
to
no! You're not getting off that easily. No, no, no! We get off the recording. He hangs up. He calls me and he goes, "Yeah, you get better internet." And I'm like, listen, my internet was having no issues. And then the recording comes out, and clearly, one of the two of us hadn't seen it because one of the two of us had to inform the other one about how poor quality it was. And I can say that it wasn't the one that was editing that pointed it out, Scott.
so
so,
okay. So I guess the point of the story is Mike has his little moment. We're all happy now.
I feel
Now,
better about myself because I felt guilty because it was raining. I was like, oh, it might actually be my internet, but no. Instead, it was the guy that just doesn't edit our stuff. So this week we're going to be talking about the newest episode of Bad Batch, and we're talking about the newest episode of X-Men 97.
yeah, so since Mike can't speak, I'll do it for us. So we're going to be talking about the latest episode of The Bad Batch, which I believe is episode 13. But yes, because we have two episodes left. So it was episode 13. And then we had X-Men 97, the sixth episode. And I think we're actually going to start off right from the gate on talking about quickly about the teaser trailer to the trailer, which you'll understand in a minute. And then we'll end, as always, with a character spotlight, this time from me. So let's get right into what I was talking about with the teaser trailer to the trailer. So apparently, Ryan Reynolds and Marvel have decided to have a teaser trailer to announce that they're having a new trailer tomorrow, aka Monday, which is 4/22. We are obviously filming this on 4/21. So, realistically, I mean, Mike will agree to this. There's not much information in the sense of other than the fact that the trailer is coming out tomorrow. Realistically, this was just kind of like showing off on Wade Wilson, specifically Deadpool, begging, telling Logan to be like, hey, buddy, there's going to be a day where you hang up the claws, but one day I'm going to ask you to come back, and I just want you to say yes.
Yep.
Which
Basically,
is legitimately what happened.
yeah, that's literally what happened. Hugh Jackman was done, and he was saying time. I mean, I remember him saying time and again the only way he would come back as Wolverine is if they did a Wolverine Deadpool movie, and it's literally what happened.
I mean, he didn't lie.
Yeah.
So, so that's all we know at this point. So obviously, when this comes out, the trailer will be out, but we have not seen it yet, obviously. So we'll actually be discussing it next week in full detail. But for right now, we know that it's happening. Ooh.
Yep. And I mean, this teaser trailer was literally just a recap of the Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, like snippets of his 20 plus years as Wolverine.
But specifically, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was specifically just the Logan trilogy. It looked like.
Yeah. It looked like it was mainly just the Logan.
Because I didn't see any X-Men, so it looked like it was not that it truly matters necessarily, but it just it just is funny to me that it was only the Logan.
Yeah, it was all X-Men Origin, X-Men Wolverine.
So it was
and
X-Men
then
Origins,
obviously
then
the
the
finale was
Wolverine,
Logan.
and then it was obviously Logan. So I'm interested in that because I'm wondering if that's a separate timeline now, because it would be.
I mean, I don't know because I mean,
Well, because Days of Future Past messed everything up.
oh yeah, no, okay, yeah, you're right. I forgot. Yep.
I'm sorry. Could you say that again?
Anyways, I'm glad you're still connected. So, Yeah, let's
Oh,
jump right into Star Wars.
oh, who's getting off easy now, Michael? Anyway, yeah. So let's talk about the Bad Batch. This episode was, I don't want to phrase it. Um, it was not bad at all. I'm not stating that at all.
No.
I just think that I don't know what I was expecting. I was I think because we're so close to the end, I was expecting more action than we got.
I mean, yes, I mean, it wasn't obviously much action. There wasn't. It was very much a. This is what's going on, and I mean, I liked it. I thought it was better than the previous episode, to be honest.
I will agree to that. I
I
will agree to
I
that.
I liked just the very simple, at least in the bad when because it again split into two sections
Correct.
technically, one with Omega, one with the Bad Batch, and I liked the Bad Batch infiltration. I liked that.
I
Uh,
agree.
I liked that sneakiness, and
But I also like too, like even though they've been out of because realistically they were a part of the Empire at one point. You know what I mean? Like I know it's like semantics, but like realistically, they were a part of the Empire, even if it was for a very short amount of time. And the fact that they're still able to dupe them gets me every time. And that's not necessarily a testament to their intelligence, although they are very intelligent and tactical. It's more the fact of how just stupid the Empire is.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, just like oh we're unbeatable. It's literally just like the Jedi. Oh we're unbeatable. No one can stop us, and small group
Here's the thing.
can.
I will 100% agree to that. It's very much like obviously nobody's trying to infiltrate this great base.
Yeah.
It's the greatest base ever created. And it's like you need to think that somebody can because
Mhm.
even rats can get into small places. Like even if you think like the most minute creature is so far beneath you, ants can still get any. You know what I mean? Like I
Yep.
know but like I'm going off on a little tangent, but I'm making sense as weird as it is.
No, you
It's
are.
like even the smallest creature, like even if you think so less of it, can still be invasive. Like not necessarily destroy everything.
Mhm.
Like if a
No.
rat comes into your home, it's not going to destroy everything necessarily. But if you leave it alone and not do anything, and not look at it, yeah, it could potentially do stuff.
Yeah.
But like you can't just let it be. Like you
Mhm.
got to look for it, hunt it down. You got to actually take like it's not so much that oh nothing can stop us. That's not how you should be thinking. You should be thinking like, huh, I'll show you how powerful I am. Huh, you're dead. You know what I mean? That's really what it should be.
Yeah.
And the Empire's like, no, I'm better than all of you.
Yeah. Literally, that's 100% what
Spot
happened.
on, which is sad and also good. I don't know, weird.
And
Um,
but
I will
and
say this: I did like the infiltration.
mhm.
I'm just on the fence about the Imperial officer that they have. Like, I don't know if he's sticking with them, if he's not. Like right now, obviously he is, but like I got this weird feeling like we're gonna have some weird stuff with him.
See, I think at the moment because the Bad Batch keeps pointing out like he because he keeps trying to be like oh you need me, but then they turn around and you need us as well because at the end of the day, if the Empire finds out that he's escaped and that he's with them and he
He's
tries to turn on them, they're not gonna welcome him back with open arms. They're gonna execute him. So
absolutely. I think it's more the fact of like if I don't think so much he's going to like completely ruin their plan. I think he's just gonna up and leave.
I don't mean
Like that
I
like
don't think
that's
he
him.
can.
Well, no. I think when the opportunity presents itself, right, it's gonna happen. Like my whole thing is it's gonna be at a point where they actually might need him. Like not necessarily need him, but like, all right, a meat shield. And he's gonna be gone.
I mean,
Like he's not
I
gonna
mean, he was there for them just now in this very episode. You know, he had an opportunity to throw them under the bus or just not speak up. And
I was gonna say more than anything else. I think it's more the fact of like I agree with you on that. I think it's more of the escape now, where it's like when I say like turn on them, I don't mean like go back to the Empire. I'm thinking about just leaving them high and dry.
no,
Is more what I'm getting
I
at now.
totally understand what you mean.
Because I agree with you. I think he's too far in that he can't just be like Empire. Look
Hmm.
it's Task Force 99.
Yep,
Is it Task Force or Task Squad?
task force.
Okay. Well, I hesitated because I originally was going to say Task Force X, which I know that's what you were thinking. But the thing that killed me was then I hesitated because I was like, I don't think it's Task Force. But anyway, so that was pretty much like that was pretty much the Bad Batch end of it. I mean, we got to see the bad, like specifically Echo still being able to hack into imperial, well, into imperial protocols and stuff like
Mhm.
that. The one thing I will say too that when I say it bothers me, it didn't ruin it at all. But like nobody questioned that there's a robot arm.
I know.
Like it would have been different if he like put on a prosthetic and I'd be like, okay, nobody's gonna pay attention, fine. But like it was very obvious what it was.
Yeah. No, I when I was watching that and they were walking through, I'm like, I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, no one is questioning the like, is that just a regular thing that that they go
Well,
through that? But
I would have been perfectly fine. But it was the fact that that one of the I don't remember if it was a stormtrooper or if it was a like a ranked officer. But somebody goes, "Your uniform's on something I'm used to," and I'm thinking to myself, so they noticed the uniform, so you noticed the arm. So let's talk about that. Are you stupid?
I mean, again, it could be something that's irregular. I mean, just because we've only
Again,
seen
we
it a
just haven't
handful
seen
of
it.
times,
I mean,
so
all right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But you can understand what I'm getting at, where it's just like I don't.
it's
Like
just
that blows my
in
mind.
my head when it comes to the Empire, it's like if you fail to the point where you've had your arm needed to be amputated, I don't like in my head it's like the Empire's not going to accept you. Maybe if you're like an elite squad, sure, but I mean like for a regular stormtrooper, I feel like they just like give you the can.
But I'm also wondering too, like they also made it seem like they don't think they're regular stormtroopers either, just because their uniforms are different.
Mm, also true.
So like that could have been it too. So I agree with you, but at the same time, it's just like I get it. It was more for a joke piece on that, like
Yeah.
your armor isn't what we're used to, and and that was kind of the thing. But I mean, like I said, that was the only I would say issue I had, and I'm hesitant to even call it an issue. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, it's not an issue. It's just something that we noticed, and
It was something I noticed, and it was just like, huh, we're gonna ignore that. Okay.
yep.
And then I will say this. All right, so we're gonna jump. Are you ready to jump to Omega? Or do you got more to say about?
Nope. Jump to
Okay.
Omega.
So the Omega one, I was very impressed with Omega.
Hmm.
So
She's learned, or she's used her time with the group very well.
she has definitely she is her own person for sure. Um, but also trained rather well, I will say as well. Not so much necessarily in combat. Not to say that she isn't good at it at all. I'm just stating I would say definitely more in the sense of like she's using her strengths to her ability, like to the highest level,
Yep.
right? She knows she's not physically strong as the rest of the group, right? She's not going to go hand to hand with anybody.
Hmm.
Not because she can't, and not that she won't. It's the fact that she knows it's pointless in the sense of like I need to go for the sure win. We can't do this maybe stuff, and I got to give her a lot of credit on that one.
Yeah, I mean, as we've said, like she's definitely a good planner
Yes.
for the group. So she sees a problem, she targets it, she sees a solution, and she tries to figure out how we can put two and two together. And I mean, just thinking like, oh, this is where the blood sample's going. This must, I must be able. There must be a way for us to get through it as well. And
Yeah, I think the other thing too is, and as Mike is talking about, this part of the episode or Omega's part of the episode is basically her trying to figure out an escape route.
mhm,
And she does question mark. The reason why I say it that way is not because she didn't find one. It's that exactly what Mike said. She was going to use the route that the blood samples were going from the cells to wherever they were going, right? And that's going to be their escape. So she stole, and I'm putting this in quotes, and we'll discuss a little bit later. She stole from Emery a tool that would pop out a tile, which, okay, when she popped out the tile, did you have a problem with it like I did?
how so?
So I didn't have a problem with her taking out one tile. I was kind of weirded out when she took out one, like many of them fell.
Oh yeah, I mean, she hit her head and like everything started to collapse. Yeah, I mean, when it first happened, I was like, oh, so she's gonna have to take out like each individual thing, and then it just like I was like, okay, there we go.
I literally was like, I guess she's got to really put it all back together quick.
Yeah,
So she almost gets caught. Obviously, doesn't work. Meaning, like, what I mean by that is she didn't actually get
she
caught.
did not get caught. Yep.
Um, and she basically tells the younglings like, "Oh, I found a way to escape," and that was basically how that ended. I mean, realistically, that's how it ended. But like I missed a like when I say I missed a piece, I 100% know Emery knew she took the tool.
I'm like, okay, there's no way that she didn't do that on purpose.
Notice it. Well, it's one of two things, right? I'm gonna pretend, right, that Emery didn't didn't think of having her take that tool away, right, or like
Hmm.
get that tool. But either way, let's pretend that she wasn't a part of that piece, right? Let's actually pretend, right? And she notices it because there's no way she doesn't, and she just doesn't say anything. That's the least intrusive thing I'm thinking of, right? The most intrusive, or I guess the best way to put it is the most inclusive. Emery is a part of this, right? Is she purposely laid it out there and was like, "Take one of them, you idiot! Hurry up!
Hmm.
While I do what I need to do."
Yep.
Because
No,
nobody's gonna question.
definitely because there's no way when she goes back, she doesn't notice that the whatever it is gone, the
No,
tool.
absolutely,
You know.
absolutely.
So
I was gonna say I definitely have to say like that was proof. I mean, not that I was not concerned about Emery at all. Emery, I knew was going to like be helping out in some way. I just was more impressed with the fact of like it happened sooner than I thought. I'll say that.
well, I mean, there's only there's only 2 episodes left, so
I know, but you know what I'm saying. Like I don't know what I was expecting, but I think I was expecting it right towards the very end.
yeah,
Like you're
fair.
kind of questioning it, like, oh, is she not, kind of thing, until the very end, and then she does something like major. I still think she's not going to do anything major until the
Mhm.
end, but it's definitely nice to see. I mean, that was pretty much the
Yep.
Bad Batch. I mean, is there anything else you want to? Oh, I'm sorry. So basically, this episode ends with the Omega's group figuring out that they can escape, and the Bad Batch en route have not made it yet to Taurus.
Tantus.
Tantus.
Yeah, I've made sure to listen to it very closely this episode.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
Tantus.
yep.
So my whole
And
thing is obviously the next episode has got to be they land and they go for an escape.
yep. So the next episode, for our knowledge, is called Flash Strike. So
Ooh, ooh. Okay, ready? Hmm. She is Omega escapes. They break in.
yeah.
They're not there.
Yep. That's
That's my prediction. I could be
that's
wrong. They might bump into each other, but that's my thought process right now.
that's kind
What
of
about
how
you?
I was figuring out, like a quick strike. She's not here. What's going on?
Even bigger plot twist: Bad Batch gets captured. Omega goes back to save them.
Hey, I could also, yeah, it, but I don't know. We'll have to obviously see. There's so many opportunities that can go on with this. I mean, like
But
this is clearly. Well, no, I can't say clearly because you never know. But this is where it's probably leading. They're gonna get out. She's gonna get out. They're gonna get in, and something's gonna go wrong.
or wrong or like definitely delayed in the
Hmm.
sense of delay their exit. So I agree with you on that front. I mean, there's only 2 episodes left, so it's not like when I say this, I don't mean nothing's going to happen. I
Hmm.
mean nothing like extremely major, like out of the realm of what we're talking about, can be the case.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like we're at least in the good ballpark because it's so close to the end that it's got to be this.
yeah,
Like other people can help and join in and stuff that we might not know about and stuff like that, but realistically, we're in the right ballpark of what's happening in these next 2 episodes.
yeah, definitely.
Anything else you'd like to talk about the Bad Batch?
Nope. Let's move on to X-Men.
Okay, so X Men. This was called Life and Death Part Two, and this was actually two storylines in one. One story I was not prepared for, and the other one I was.
Yep.
One of them was, oh shoot, Professor X and Leon. No,
Lalandra.
Lalandra. Sorry, Empress Leandra.
Yeah.
Lalandra.
You're going to be struggling so hard to get this right.
The Empress of the Shihag Empire.
You remember that? No problem.
I practiced that one. I just couldn't remember her name. Mike, I have limited brain space. Limited.
Oh, I know.
Limited.
I'm
I've
aware.
said it a million times. You've seen it a million times, and it seems like every time you're shocked by this.
I'm
So,
not shocked. I just love ragging on you about
so,
it.
so we have that storyline, and then we have the storyline between Forge and Storm. So,
That
which one would you like to talk about first?
um I guess let's
Right? There's
it's
no wrong answer.
no, because they both end at the
Right at the same time.
same time. So I guess let's talk about Storm first.
Okay. So, one of the big things here is, and this is a huge one in my book, the demon is actually her inner demon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still a creature that kind of feeds on negative energy and all that stuff. So that's a legitimate thing. But the idea is it specifically storms demons. Because
It was
apparently,
so at first it was like a combination of Storm and Forge in the house, but Forge managed to banish the first one because it was his guilt, his fear of what he did to harm mutants, his own kind, what he thought was good, and now he's living with the guilt of what he did. So he banished it, but then the creature.
I'm actually proud of you. Continue.
Oh, okay. I thought you were actually like you were mocking me, but I.
No, no, I'm actually proud of you. I mean,
um,
yes, I'm doing it to mess with you, but at the same time, I'm actually proud. So continue.
but obviously, then as Storm is trying to heal him, she has to go to the cave, conquer her own fears and her own guilt and her own other fear. Um, the demon came back and
So
you know,
one thing I will say too, and I know Mike's 100% accurate on all this. It's just more the fact that the second one, like, so the first one, I might want to rewatch it when we first see it because I'm wondering if it sounds like Forge more because this one sounded like Storm, like it
oh,
was the Storm.
I
So
didn't
it
even
was
pay
the
attention.
Storm actress's voice. You could hear it, but it was definitely distorted on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, or it was somebody trying to sound like Storm. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Yeah.
meant to sound like Storm, but not be Storm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm now curious because I agree with you 100% on everything you've said so far. I'm now wondering if I listen back and go back to Life and Death Part 1, if I'm hearing Forge is voice actor or somebody trying to sound like Forge with the first creature.
Oh, okay. I didn't even pick up on that. So
I
that's
didn't
pretty
I
cool.
didn't pick on it until we were in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's when it comes back. So that's stupid of me. Sorry. When it comes back, um, that's when I hear it and I go, "That sounds like Storm." And that's when she says, "I now know what the issue is. It's me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
the problem.
Yep.
Hi, it's me. I'm the problem."
I hate
Don't
you.
sue me, Taylor. Don't sue me.
I hate you so
Um,
much.
oh, anyway. So Storm gets a makeover, becomes the goddess of the wind and elements.
Once again.
Yes, basically. And she grows out her hair. She has a new outfit. That's her goddess outfit, if I remember correctly, from the comics. Um, I say it that way because it's like it was like you know how each costume has like a theme, like
Each one
Uncanny X
represents a different
Men. Yeah.
iteration. Yeah.
So I want to talk about this a little bit before we go into because we basically talked about the story.
Mhm.
So the reason why this was important was because a lot of people had a problem with Storm having a mohawk, and the reason, follow me, there's a reason. Because in the comics, the mohawk, how she got it was she was dealing with some stuff mentally, and what she does was she got over it, like meaning like she had to deal with her demons, right?
Yep.
Her inner demons, and that's when she shaved her head and gave herself the mohawk. in this show, we didn't see that, right? Until now. And what happens is instead of them doing using the mohawk as being her like
Conquering.
like showing of the journey, right? It's actually her long hair. It's the goddess form where it's like I've dealt with my demons now. Now I am the goddess of the elements once again.
She's
You know what I'm
accepted who
saying?
she is.
Exactly. And I think that's more of what people wanted for her to have the mohawk, but I think it they still did it, but they did it in a way that was different enough to make it so we were like, "Oh,
It makes
like I
sense.
wasn't ready for that." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it worked. First off, it very much worked, right?
Hmm.
But two, it was the fact that we're so used to the comics now and how they've been utilizing the comics like very closely that they're changing it just enough to make comic book fans go, "Oh, like I didn't know we were going there. Like I know what we're doing. Like I know where we are, but I wasn't prepared."
No, it's very interesting. I like that where like she was doing that to like whatever stand out or like portray her mental disability, not disability.
No, no, but basically the idea was she overcame her own like fears, basically.
Yeah.
So like the mohawk in the comics was what this episode was. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
meaning like she had her long hair, she was like dealing with her demons, she lost her powers, all that stuff. She had to gain them back, and that's when like she had to deal with the rough road and everything else. And that's when she was like, on, she gave herself the mohawk, and that's where
The
like that.
mohawk was meant to make a statement.
Correct. The Mohawk was basically like this was my journey,
Yep.
and in this one, it was the opposite. The
Yep.
Mohawk was first, and then the long hair goddess now is what her showing her journey,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I thought was incredible.
No, that
Personally,
is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
it was a great story in the comics, but also a great story in the show as well. I
Hmm.
was actually impressed with how well they did with it. Oh, let me rephrase it this way: I shouldn't say I'm impressed with how well they did with it. I'm impressed with what they did because
Yeah.
everything they've done so far has been amazing.
No, they've been nailing the show so far. It's insane.
100%. Like seriously, absolutely. So, Forge, we also get to see him use magic. This is the first time we've seen magic in the X-Men universe.
Really?
Modern magic, I'll say. Um
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
because
Okay.
I
I'll say.
because I don't because I'm trying to think like I don't think we saw magic. I think we saw like technology and stuff like that. I don't think we actually saw like magic.
Well, isn't isn't Juggernaut technically magic?
I mean, I guess, but like his body was infused with magic, but he doesn't use magic.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess the best way to put this is the first time we see somebody cast magic. How about
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm like we never saw Doctor Strange in the previous one.
Well, like we did, but he never did anything. It was kind
Yeah.
of like literally that was his cameo. It was just like what?
Yeah. Um. Yeah, because everything else, no one really uses magic. It's just all like mental powers or whatever. Because it's
Correct.
like because Sinister doesn't use. It's a different kind of power.
Correct. But you understand what I'm saying. So this was the first time we've seen it, and it was very much Doctor Strange magic.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's what they used it for, which I had no problem with. I thought it was kind of cool. Um, and that was pretty much the Storm and Forge part of it. I mean, oh, sorry. At the very end, Storm saw the news article. I mean, the news report of Genosha blowing up, and she started crying
hmm
because at first she was gonna like go away with Forge and have some fun. And then
You okay?
she saw the news report, and then that's when obviously things changed.
Hmm. Um, yeah, and obviously seeing the devastation of her people.
Genosha,
Of yeah, so
100%. All
so
right, so you ready to talk about the
yep, that
Charles
means jump
Xavier of it all?
the return of Charles Xavier.
So he's in a mecha suit, and I'm not even lying. Um, Basically, it's a mecha suit. It's an exoskeleton to help him walk.
Hmm.
Uh, he and so he's healed. I think he's. I would say at 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being generous by saying that, but I'm also like pretty sure I'm right.
I mean, the way that they made the episode seem, it seemed because it's
Like
like
he
I owe
just
my
like
life
he's
for saving me. Like,
like I thought it was more of like he's now fully healed. He's now back to the way he was.
yeah,
Like that's how I.
maybe a little bit extra, but
One thing I do have to mention before we get deep into this, we got to see the Kree,
yeah, a very. It's
specifically
so
Ronan.
it honestly it is so interesting because most iterations that I end up seeing of the Kree and the Skrulls, the Kree is the one who's usually the one that's getting demolished, and like Skrulls are like the conquering species that are like killing all other species. But in the MCU, it's like literally just completely flipped, and it is very just
Well,
interesting seeing from a different standpoint.
in this one, I would argue that it's not the Kree that are the dominators in this one. It's the Shi'ar more.
Well, no. So, like, what I mean is, like, the Kree in this just like is getting dominated.
Oh, like slapped so hard.
Yep.
We get
And
to
so,
see
like, what I mean is, like, because of the MCU, it's like the Kree is the conquering nation or whatever they
yes.
are, species.
So so I gotta ask Mike. So bear with me, audience. Did you notice that Scott Summers' brother was there?
I do not remember. No.
Okay. So you know Vulcan? Do you know who
Yep.
Vulcan is?
Yep.
The fire guy.
Yep.
Well, fire-ish, I guess you'd say. That is Scott Summers' brother.
Oh,
His
okay.
dad was getting it on in space.
I was seeing obviously like a a bunch of different characters, and my
I
battery
mean,
is
obviously
running
we
low.
had the Gladiator, we had Death. What?
My computer battery is running low.
Oh, we had Deathbird, which is Lalandra's sister.
There you go.
Um, we had obviously Vulcan. We had Gladiator. We had a bunch of others that I don't think we actually got names for.
Yeah, exactly. So like we were going through all those characters, and I'm
Well,
like,
like Vulcan was never introduced, but I know who Vulcan is. The
Mhm.
others, like
There we
I
go.
should know them, but they're like they look familiar, but they're like not ringing a bell.
Yeah, no, I mean there were obviously a lot of characters, um, but uh, yeah, aside for a couple, there weren't really anything that you stood out to. We've never
So
been introduced to them in this universe.
correct. I think we were in the animated series.
Did
Some of
we?
them,
Well, yeah, like I said, aside from a few standout ones.
because like I think most of them, other than the giant guy, I think we actually no, even the giant guy, I think we saw
Really?
because when
I
we
don't
were
remember him.
during the Phoenix Saga, it
Oh,
was only during the Phoenix Saga.
I don't remember him.
It was when like Gladiator came out and everything. It was a whole like
I remember seeing Vulcan in that series.
yes. I
But
believe
I
most
did.
of them. I thought most. I'm almost positive most of them were in there too. They just were literally like background characters. Like I think they were there for like the big fight, like with the Phoenix, with the X-Men fighting the for the Phoenix's life.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know what I'm
they
talking
were
about?
they were trying to kill
And
her.
then like a couple episodes before that. But anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. So that was pretty much so. Anyway, we had this fight with the Shi'ar Empire versus the Kree, and the Shi'ar win. And then in the middle of their fighting, all of a sudden, Lalandra comes onto the screen and goes, "Hello, my people. I am your empress. I have news. I'm getting married to the
And
Terran."
Lalandra just steps on Ronan's face and kills him.
No, 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 no. That wasn't Lalandra. That was Deathbird.
Oh, sorry, Deathbird. My bad.
Lalandra doesn't step on people. She doesn't get her
She
feet
might.
dirty.
You never know what
Uh,
Charles likes.
well, I've learned a lot about Charles. I'll tell you that right now. We're gonna get into that after we discuss. But there's some kinky stuff going on in
Oh
aliens.
well, this was clearly a hint as to your character spotlight. I'm guessing.
Actually, no,
Oh no. Oh okay.
no, no, no. This character was introduced last episode,
Oh
meaning like the one I'm talking about. So anyway,
okay.
um, my point. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. So basically, we have that going on. So she announces that she's going to be marrying the Terran, Charles Xavier. And the Shi'ar Empire is pissed. How dare you go with the Terran? That's the ghetto of the galaxy. Which is not even an exaggeration, unfortunately, meaning like they legitimately called the Milky Way the ghetto.
Yeah, they did. They did.
It's the ghetto of the galaxy. Like, only weird people go there. Think to myself, woman, who are you talking to? We got things. We got creatures. They beat you people temporarily. I mean, like screw you. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny that they were like, "That's the ghetto. Like, we don't go over there." Oh,
I honestly forgot about that until you said it. Until you called it the ghetto.
it hit me like it like I actually was insulted. Like I literally was like, I'm gonna make myself a mutant. I'm gonna go into the Shi'ar Empire and I'm gonna slap Deathbird in the face. But no, my point I'm making is just like it just proves a point like why there's been so little alien interaction on Earth, in the sense of being like nobody goes there.
Mhm.
Like nothing good happens there. Like you guys had the Phoenix there once, like fine, but like after that, we're kind of like done with you. So we find out that Deathbird wants to have I'm not even going to attempt to remember what the actual game is called or the trial is called, but it's basically a trial that is done to prove a non Shihar creature to be of royalty. Okay,
Yep.
and she got so Charles Xavier chose to do it, and apparently the the trial was he had to forget about Earth and all his memories there and denounce his X-Men, like forget them. And he and Lalandra were talking, and like they were having a good back and forth. This is where they start to get a little kinky because apparently Charles likes to be submissive in the bedroom. I wonder if that's because he can't use his legs. I'm not sure, but they be kinky. Because he's like, I'm wondering if you could rule me, Your Majesty. She goes, Charles, not now. Wait until later. And I'm just like, damn. This is definitely meant for the people who watched X-Men the Animated Series as children, and this is for them now. 100%. Like,
It's like you guys
oh,
are grown up now. You can get to the next step.
like they remember as kids, you were like, oh, that's so cute. They're together. They're going to get married. Well, now they're getting busy.
Oh
All
yeah,
right? They're getting busy. He
things are
takes off his
happening.
he takes off his exoskeleton, and so does she. And they go to town. But he still calls her Empress the entire time when he's allowed to speak. When he's allowed to speak. But anyway, so I can't. Uh, I'm awful, but hilarious. So basically, they had this conversation, and she's like, "But Charles, if you truly love me, you will do this." And so finally, he's just like, "Okay, fine." So we're at the trial, and she begins to start taking away his memories, or so we think. And he's agreeing to the memories on Earth and everything else. And as they ask him, "What about the X-Men?" he hesitates, and that's when Deathbird comes in saying, "He hesitated. He hesitated. I'm the ruler. I'm the Empress. Get rid of them all. I'm the leader." And it turns
And
out to be this big fight for a temporary time. And that's when Charles Xavier goes, "You know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to school all of you." And he literally takes him to school in the astral plane.
yeah, it's incredible to see how powerful Charles is to be able to control, like, like
Everyone's mind.
everyone's mind. It's like going. It's like Deathbird calling Earth the ghetto and how like they're good for nothing, and yet you get this creature from the ghetto that literally just
Put them all in their place.
yep.
Like,
And
he
it's like
literally
even when Deathbird is trying to like
resist him.
resist him, he's like, no, stop.
He shoves an apple in her mouth and everything. Um, I thought it was kind of cool to see him. Like, one, it's the first time we get to see Charles Xavier full potential. First off, I know he's powerful. He's the most powerful telepath to ever exist. Blah blah blah. I mean, we knew this already, but to see it especially in this new animation in this new story, was incredible. He put everyone in the mind and was basically like, "You guys need to actually come together." And one of the things that killed me, I mean, it killed me because of how good it was him basically stating, "Conquering is not the answer. That's the easy way."
Hmm.
He goes, "Then you get a lot of resistance and they fight back. But when you coexist, it's the hardest. But once it's done, it's the most successful of them all."
Yeah,
And I know I'm paraphrasing, and I by no means was I quoting him at all, but that was the point I was getting out of that, and I think that was incredible. And then some
absolutely.
scary stuff happened.
Then everyone died.
Yeah, everyone turned to skeletons. Then we had a giant gambit that then turned skeleton that shot a green blast at him, and that was a whole thing. And
he
that's when,
he detected what happened on Genosha,
yes,
and
I'm hesitant to say he knows exactly what went down,
no,
but
he just knows that there's trouble.
he's got a good idea of what's going
Yeah,
on. So he then is like, "I need to get to Earth now," and she's like, "But Charles, Charles, they're almost on your side, Charles. They're gonna let you rule, Charles, with your memory." He's like, "I don't care." He goes, "I'll dump you right now if I go to Earth. If that means I go to Earth and protect my X-Men." And that legitimately is how that piece of the episode ends. But there is an after credit. After credit. Did you know this?
I did not. I actually did not. This is the one episode I didn't watch after it ended.
Wait. Do you, it might not have been a full after credit scene if you understand what I mean. It might have been like soon as it blacked out, it came on. It was the creator of the Sentinels was running away.
Oh, okay. No, no, no. I did. Okay, yeah. I did see that. Yep. Sorry.
Well, because it was technically like it wasn't after credits, but it was after the episode.
Yeah, yeah. It's like everything happened, and then yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so I wanted to talk about this last because there's a lot of hidden moments in this. I think. Um, so we have the creator of the Sentinels running away, being like, "But I gave you the location of the Master Mold. Leave me alone." And he's being chased, and we don't know by who until we hear the voice, and it is someone sinister. So I did that because that's what Beast did when Sinister was introduced in this series. So yeah, I didn't like it now, and I didn't like it then. So I hate myself. The big thing here,
I'm glad.
yeah. So we find out that Sinister was behind the attack on Genosha, which makes me think it's not actually Sinister. So meaning
Would
like
be
Sinister was behind it, but there's somebody pulling his strings. And who pulls Mr. Sinister's strings?
Apocalypse.
There we go. And who else is involved with Apocalypse? Not necessarily a comrade of Apocalypse, but is somebody we always see when we deal with Apocalypse.
I don't remember.
Cable,
Oh, okay.
which is why I think Apocalypse is behind it all, because Cable came and tried to stop it.
Cable was in the past. Yep.
So here we are, children.
So when you were saying like who do we always associate with Apocalypse, I thought you meant like who's working with
That's
Apocalypse.
why I said there's not a comrade of Apocalypse. That's
Yeah,
why I
yeah,
tried to make it very clear on that one, because I realized, oh, he's gonna say like the Horseman. I was like, he's right, but that's not what I was thinking.
yeah.
Um, like, yes, you're correct, Horseman, yes, but no. Which really gets me to emphasize Apocalypse because he's the only one we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's right. We haven't seen him come in to play
Because we've
anything.
seen the Sentinels, the Master Mold, we've seen Friends of Humanity, we've obviously seen Magneto, and then not. We've seen the Morlocks, we've seen
You've seen
Mojo.
Magneto and then not.
Yeah. There's all right. So there are a couple of things I want to talk about that we missed about last episode. But anyway,
Okay.
and the opening credits of this. So did you notice in the opening credits there were two mutants missing?
Like in the introduction,
Yep.
I didn't watch it. I skipped over it.
Magneto and Gambit were not in it, and Nightcrawler has been added to the main roster.
Oh, okay.
So you know how they do like the Wolverine, the Cyclops, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they didn't have Magneto and they didn't have Gambit, and so what they did have was Nightcrawler instead.
Which is interesting because at the end of in the post credit scene, you know, if you see the post credits, not post credit scene, if you see the credits when they're going through everything, they have like the roster of all the X Men. Magneto's still there.
No, I know that. Which is also, but if you also notice too, like, so when they when they clash together,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that stays the same. But it's the open. It's like when they do all the names, they got rid of because they got rid of Bishop because obviously you haven't seen it when he went back to the future or his present.
Mhm.
He was removed from it as well.
Oh, okay.
So just a fun fact for the kids. And then, Michael, there was a character we forgot to. Now, granted, last episode on our podcast was a mess, but um, did you notice that there was another character um, that was very obvious? Well, I shouldn't say obvious because it wasn't obvious that they were there, but their outline was in the sky
No.
right before the Sentinel, like right before the place started to blow up. When we see like we see like the whole landscape and we see the sky.
Yep.
Uta is there, the Watcher.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So literally, I wanted to say obviously that we had technical issues, so it didn't get brought up. But it literally there was so many memes about it being like, oh, you know shit's gonna get bad when you see the Watcher show up, and it was hilarious because literally we see like it's just his outline, like it's like like in the beginning of What If he's in
You
there.
see him
And
in the background. You barely
you
see
see
him.
a very little bit of his eyes and his outline.
Yeah.
That's legitimately what we saw, right? And oh my gosh, I was in tears because I thought that was the most insane thing. Because I again watched it twice for that, but I watched the second. I didn't see it the first time. I knew what I was looking for the second time because I saw it on like memes and stuff. So then I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, Mike has no idea. I can't wait to talk to him about it. And then his internet kicked out.
My internet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm. Tell me when you watched last week's episode, and then we'll talk. I
We still haven't. So
know you haven't. I can see the view count when I go on YouTube.
anyway, so he was there. So I thought that was kind of cool. So the rumor is we're gonna have Captain America in the next episode.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how true there's been a lot of rumors about it, but anyway, so that, my friends,
So on a
is
side note, seeing that you're saying Captain America, and in my head because of watching What If recently, and it's Captain Carter instead of Captain America. I saw some reports that are saying that Kevin Feige has been considering including X Men '97 into the main MCU timeline.
I heard opposite of this.
So so right now it is separate. There's no ties, but he's saying like he came out and said like it's a constant thought, you know, because of how successful this is. Why not just tie it in and say like, oh, it's part of the sacred timeline? They're like right now it's still separate, but you know anything can happen in Marvel where they just one little thing and it becomes part of it.
I'm gonna say it can't be part of the. It could be part of the new sacred timeline, but it can't be a part of the original sacred timeline because in the '90s, there were no mutants.
In the '90s, there were what?
There were no mutants
Oh, yeah.
because in the '90s you just found out there were
So, like,
aliens.
actually, I still have it saved on my phone. A quote from Kevin Feige is that that has always been something we know was on Kevin Feige's mind. Do we make this part of the MCU? Do we not make this part of the MCU? It's actually gone back and forth quite a few times.
No, I believe that. That is definitely true. The idea is no matter what, they're going to introduce it to the animation universe for sure. They just don't the other pieces they're kind of unsure of.
Yeah.
I think we're going to know more with X-Men and Wolverine. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine. But yeah. So, anything else you want to talk about before we go to my character spotlight?
No. This was a good. It so like it's.
It's
I
good,
was
but it doesn't. So this was a good episode. This was a very good episode.
yeah.
The problem is it wasn't as great as the episode
It
previous.
followed the episode that it followed, and it irritated me because because so like I understand it now, But
Yes.
when the episode when Life and Death Part One aired, and then the next episode came on, I'm like, why didn't they just do Part Two? And
So I
then Part Two went after this, and now after seeing it, I understand why, because the ending of it tied into the previous episode. But I was so irritated because I'm like, why isn't it following? Like, it's supposed to be Part One, then Part Two.
no, I agree. No, I 100% agree with you. But it didn't ruin it. It just wasn't as good as obviously episode 5. We're
Yeah.
not going to argue that at all. But like they're also not claiming it. But it was still a good episode
No,
for
it was
sure.
a good episode.
This series has been excellent. All
So
right.
apparently I've been hearing reports actually, just so I know we said that we're moving on, but I've been hearing people were tying Storm's regaining of her power. They were comparing it to Superman's first flight in one of his like original comics that not original, but like one of the more modern like his
One
origin
of his
story.
modern origin stories.
Yeah. So like his first flight, how she flew through the air, got to the sun, and like was absorbing her powers and gaining powers. They were saying this was like a an homage to one of those. Uh,
Yeah, I mean the idea was she was really trying to feel the atmosphere
mhm.
because we the one thing we have to remember is she controls the atmosphere on any planet.
Yeah.
So like her feeling the atmosphere is what she really needed. Not so much the sun itself, but I do get what you're saying. All right, are we ready for my character spotlight?
Yep. You can move on.
Okay, so my character spotlight is on Megan Gwen, also known as Pixie. And for those of you who watched episode 5 of X Men 97, Pixie was one of the mutants that we saw around Genosha with Leech. Do you know who Leech is?
Leech is the
The Green Morlock.
Morlock. Thank you.
And she's the one with the wings.
Yeah.
So, Megan Gwen, also
Was
known
she,
as Pixie.
sorry. Was she the one that was with him that was saying like, "Oh, we're gonna die," and Leech was saying like, "Oh, Magneto's here. He's gonna protect us."
No, 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 no. At that point, that was just the Morlocks. I'm talking about when Rogue and Gambit were with Nightcrawler going through the city.
Oh, okay.
She was the one with the wings and the guy with the inside out skin, or you know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
talking
No,
about.
I remember who you're talking about now. Yep.
So, Megan Gwen, also known as Pixie, was raised by her grandparents in a small mining town of I'm not even going to try, but in Wales. Because the name of the city I'll never get. There's way too many syllables. I mean, way too many consonants. Not enough friggin' vowels. So her mutant powers manifested in a near-miss road accident involving her bicycle and another car. She manifests rainbow-colored butterfly wings, allowing her to fly with great maneuverability. So she enrolled in the Xavier Institute and was assigned to Paragon's training squad under the tutelage of former New Mutant Wolfsbane. Do you know who Wolfsbane is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know of her at the
I
very
know.
least.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. When it was discovered that Wolfsbane had been in a romantic relationship with a student, Elixir, she left the school and was replaced with her former teammate, Magma. So Magma was in charge of Gwen and the Pixies. Apparently, Pixie, along with Anole, Loa, Wolf Cub, Gentle, Rockslide, and Match, because apparently during that time, Marvel didn't know how to name people, were told a frightening ghost story one night at the school by their fellow student Blindfold. Pixie, frightened by the story, told Blindfold that she didn't like her anymore. Blindfold apologized to her and told her, "I'm sorry for your loss." I don't know why. It soon turned out that this tale wasn't a story at all, but rather a vision of things past and of things to come. The group was soon sucked down into the realm of Limbo. Limbo is a alternate dimension where we know our friend Magix from, and Dark Magix, where they were immediately attacked by a mob of demons. Pixie stayed by Blindside's side during their fight, and Blindfold, sorry, and Blindfold cautioned Pixie and the others that um, that that Pixie must not fall into darkness. Sorry, she used her powers for the first time, incapacitating several demons with her pixie dust, causing them to suffer psychedelic hallucinations. I need some pixie dust. She admitted to not knowing that what they saw in the hallucinations, and that's when Ilyana Rasputin, also known as Dark Child, not Dark Magic, sorry, who is also, for those of you who don't know, Colossus's sister. Dark Child saved the small group, and she asked one of the creatures to bring Megan, aka Pixie, to her. Despite her friends trying to stop her, Megan gave in to Darkchild's request for a portion of her soul to create a soul stone. Ileana then explained that the knife was actually a portion of Pixie's own soul, which is why her soul dagger was smaller than the original soul stone. Black magic could now fill the hole behind the knife's creation, leaving Pixie no longer an innocent personality, as well as changing a great portion of her hair black instead of the previous pink. She was taught a teleportation spell by Darkchild. She teleported her and her friends to Bellicaso to stop him from torturing the rest of the team. She was then told that in order to save her friends, she must use her knife to stab Ballisto. Initially, she hesitated. Pixie followed through her orders and lost most of her innocence by killing the villain. After defeating him and escaping from Limbo, Pixie was officially a member of the new X-Men. Pixie was sitting in a medical lab along with Dust and somebody else. I'm not going to pronounce their name. Nazaro? No. Nuzno. Nuzno. Does he know? Does he know? Somebody else. Where she revealed that she was of age. Oh, that when she was of age, Doctor Strange would tutor her in magic. She was questioned by Mercury about her age because Mercury was trying to figure out who the youngest mutant alive now that more mutants weren't being born. Hellion assumed she was the youngest because she was the most immature. Megan questioned Soriana about her religion and gushed over the creature that came in that protected her in Limbo. Later, she participated in a training session with Wolverine where she made him see unicorns. Man, pixie dust is fun. Pixie, alongside with other new X-Men, took part in a battle against the Acolytes, and then they attacked the mansion seeking the Destiny Diaries. Blindfold later stated that Pixie would soon be injured. Isn't that fun? During the M-Day, she was one of the few mutants that was actually able to keep her mutant abilities. Here's my thing. Like, all I keep hearing about is how during M Day nobody had mutant abilities, but it seems like everyone I bring up was one of the few people that kept their powers. I'm like, there's a lot of people that are few people who kept their damn powers.
Well, let's put this into retrospect. I'm going to compare this to Star Wars. There are 10,000 Jedi.
Yes. Yes.
90% of them get wiped out. There's only now maybe 100 Jedi left in the time of post Order 66. It's only, that's a lot. 100 Jedi is a lot, but at the same time, it's not a lot. So same thing with M Day.
Fair
They
enough,
didn't
but you
wipe
understand what
out.
I'm getting at. Like, it's just one of those things that kills me is where it's like all of the mutants lost their abilities except for these 23.
Yeah, you just
So,
happen
like,
to
we're
find
gonna
the
keep
ones.
adding to that 23, so it seems like more, but it's 23. This was a weird storyline. Pixie found herself and several of her teenage teammates under a spell, causing them to live under the impression that they were ordinary high school girls with no memories of the X-Men. However, the illusion began to fade with Pixie finding herself in confrontation with the demon Saturnine. Meanwhile, a woman arrived on Utopia claiming to be her mother and demanded to see her. Later, her mother showed up in the Winegrade mansion where Lady Mastermind was fighting. Excuse me, where Lady Mastermind was fighting with Martin King. Some of these names are messing with me. I apologize. Pixie apparently deals with some weird names. Um, I thought with Pixie I'd have an easy time, but obviously I'm wrong.
Yeah.
She told them to stop acting like babies of the family, and that they have been basically crazy. Pixie was revealed to be Jason Wingrid's daughter, and the mastermind's sister's sibling. Jesus. So much stuff. She was attacked by demons once again. I mean, realistically, she's been attacked by demons a lot, specifically the demons of Limbo, which I always find is weird. So she hangs out with magics a lot for a lot of reasons, but mostly due to the fact that they learned. She learned magic from her, and so like she's getting better at it as each day goes. I mean, she's been a part of a lot of groups. Oh my gosh. I mean, like she's been part of the X-Men, the new X-Men, all this other stuff. So in the House of X, right, like countless other mutants, Pixie joined the mutant nation of Cryoa? Croca. I am so sorry. Following its foundation. This is a recent nation. This is like the new Genosha, so follow me. As a representative of the nation, Pixie took part in a few international missions, encountering the Champions, the Children of the Atom, and the Runaways, with whom she had a special bond with. Wink, wink. In one of her missions, she to an anti-mutant museum. She discussed with her friends how she was one of the few mutants on the nation who had never died and been resurrected by the Five. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Five is a group of very powerful telepathic and psychic mutants who are able to combine their powers together to literally resurrect people. One of the people that they resurrected was Charles Xavier. But anyway, encouraged by her friends, she decided to use her powers to traumatize one of the guards by making him kill her. Deeply concerned, Nightcrawler, with his chivalry attitude towards death, I'm sorry, sorry, my apologies, I read that wrong. Deeply concerned, Nightcrawler was concerned with her cavalier attitude towards death and the fact that when she came back, she had lost a day of memories. She later joined Nightcrawler and Dr. Nemesis on a mission to rescue Legion, who she'd never met but heard a lot about from her late girlfriend, from his late girlfriend, Blindfold. When they found him in the base, he had been reduced to just a brain, so Kurt was forced to kill him so he could be resurrected by the Five. Because, hey, the Five helps. She was later possessed by Onslaught along with everyone on the island, but eventually freed from his control. She was then sent by Legion and Nightcrawler alongside Dr. Nemesis, Dazzler, and DJ to deprogram everyone using the Soul Sword, as Onslaught was making everyone commit suicide, while Xavier deleted their backups, preventing their resurrections. Yes, I'm not making this up. They took them through a gate into the altar, a pocket dimension in Legion's mind, where their thoughts could be merged, turning them into something that could defeat Legion. Excuse me. Do you know who Onslaught is?
No.
Onslaught is if Charles Xavier and Magneto combined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and somehow, Mike, he's a villain, which I don't think you should be shocked by that.
No, not at all.
But I just wanted to make that clear. So
I just picture Magneto with Charles Xavier's telepathic ability, and that just
nothing. Yeah, no, pretty much. All right. So her powers: Pixie is a hybrid mutant and fairy, possessing powers to grant her both by her mutation and her inherent magical abilities, without a clear distinction regarding the source of each power. Meaning, like, nobody's quite sure what's her fairy powers, like magic powers, and what's her mutation. But she's got both. She has wings. I almost said winged flight, but that's stupid. She had wings. They're butterfly-like and they're rainbow-colored. She apparently produces a hallucinogenic dust on it. She has the ability to cast spells. Apparently, Doctor Strange initially promised to teach her more spells, but once she turned 18, and Pixie was one of the many possible candidates for the title of Sorcerer Supreme.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened when I don't know. She technically didn't learn from him, but whatever. She has the ability of teleportation. She has the ability to banish demons and put people to sleep. And she's okay with killing herself and being resurrected by the Five. Don't ask me why. Sorry. Her her weapon is a soul dagger, is a piece of Pixie's soul that was taken by Darkchild to forge a smaller version of the sword called the Soul Dagger. The Soul Dagger was displayed many of the same qualities as the Soul Sword, including striking the supernatural and the ability to summon the sword at any time. Tiny little dagger. And as always, the power grid is always out of 7. And Pixie's power grid is an intelligence of 2 because it's considered normal. She has the strength of 2, meaning she's normal. Her speed is a 3, which is considered superhuman, but with her teleportation spell, she's basically a 7 because she can warp. Her durability is a 2 because it's normal. Her energy projection is a 3 because it is short ranged, and her fighting skill is a 3 because she has some training. Overall, not a very powerful being, but she could do some stuff, man. She could do some stuff.
She
So
can
we've
make you
seen
feel
Pixie.
good.
She's now been introduced in X-Men '97, and I forgot to mention she was originally introduced in 2004.
So a young character.
Yes, she's only 20. So that is my character spotlight, ladies and gentlemen. So in next week's episode, we are going to be talking about the actual trailer of Deadpool and Wolverine. And we're going to be talking about the latest episode of The Bad Batch, along with the latest episode of X-Men '97, and any other trailers that come out. But for right now, we don't know. So if you've made it this far, guys, we'd very much appreciate a like and subscribe down below. Mostly because Mike doesn't want to have to work anymore, but let's be honest, he's still going to have to. So if there's
That would be
nothing
nice.
else, we want to thank you very much for watching this episode. Have a wonderful night and stay Ely. I don't know. I was going to try to something and I give up. So now the ending is ruined. Have a great night.
Yeah.